I know it had a lot to do with the way I grew up, not having money growing up, and I just always, you know, I can remember experiences in my life where, like, not wanting kids to come over to my house and friends to come over to my house to see my house, not being embarrassed about the cars I was being dropped off in elementary school, you know, and literally hiding, you know, under the seat as we drive up to school. And so I think those moments always stuck with me. And so I always just thought in my head, I'm gonna do something.
I remember I could not hold down a job to save my life, and my family just thought I was this just degenerate, because I thought I worked at a furniture store for a while and never really showed up to work, and I worked at a hardware store for about 3 hours. And I basically, my dad would joke around with my sister and my aunts and uncles that I was always trying to break my own personal record of how how quickly I could quit a job. And I just hated it. I hated working for somebody who I thought that I was smarter than, and who I thought, and that sounded really brassy to say it like that, but I could not work for somebody that I didn't respect or I didn't admire or want to learn from. If I didn't think that, hey, in 10 years I want to be where you are, the assistant manager at a hardware store, never in a million years would I be able to show up to work and work for this person and try to learn from them, right? Because the lessons that they're trying to teach me, this person doesn't know anything about the life that I want. Why should I be working under you?
I mean, I quit the job. When I felt like I was spinning my wheels there, I always told myself, my business starts making money and I'm missing opportunities that I would have been able to capitalize on if I didn't have this job, because I was holding down 2 jobs actually, and running the business with my partners. I said, I gotta quit, I gotta quit this job.
I've been an entrepreneur almost my whole life. Since I was 18 years old, I just always knew that I wanted to work for myself. But in order to fund some of my companies, I did take jobs, actual corporate jobs. I was an escrow officer for a short time, and then I would deliver pizzas at night because the tip money was really great. And what I noticed with people in jobs was that there was always something that they wanted to be doing with their lives that they were not doing. And instead they were trading their time for an amount of money for somebody else's dream. And so the difference is that I didn't really do that. I always had an end game. And so if I was delivering pizzas and I would make $100 in tips that night, I would just equate that to like 40 t-shirts or however many t-shirts that I could buy with that money. But I think that in general, people are really unhappy when they're not doing something that's directly benefiting them.
And so I was coming up with ideas, trying to start my own business, trying to think of other things. And I just didn't know what it was going to be, but I always had my eyes open. I was always looking for that opportunity. And I had come up with some, very unsuccessful ideas, but I wasn't discouraged. When they didn't work out, I was always on to the next thing. Okay, that didn't work.
I discovered my passion kind of through trial and error. And I guess I never really refined what I was passionate about until fairly recently. I never really realized that that was my passion. I was in sports for years, and I loved sports, and I loved training for sports, but what I eventually found was, what I eventually was able to realize after I was done competing, was that I did not like actually competing in the sport. I just really loved training for the sport, because I loved seeing that these actions that I was taking and this work that I was putting in was resulting in this change to my body and to my attitude and to my knowledge. And I was just becoming more and becoming better and transforming myself into something that I wasn't, a month ago or a year ago. And that concept was so powerful to me that I wanted that in the rest of my life somehow. And when I discovered entrepreneurship in general, and the first business I started, and I was able to see that the work I was putting in on a daily basis and accomplishing a task list or accomplishing these things that I was doing day in, day out actually built something. And it was actually creating just these really minuscule actions that I was taking and tasks I was checking off my list every day were building this thing that other people would look at in my life and be like, how did you do this? Like, I can't even imagine what would go into doing something like this. So I guess my passion was progress, and it was freedom, and it was seeing that I could take these things that I was interested in and I could build something that was bigger than me, and it was bigger than, you know, just the things I was doing day to day, and it was something that millions of people could look at and love and not think that that was me, that was just this huge brand or something like that. And what they didn't know is I created that in my bedroom.
But I never even thought of myself as a business person. I just kept doing things that I was passionate about and then making them and selling them. So I started out, my first company was a toy company, these toys rhythm sticks. They're juggling toys, and I loved them, and I used to play with them for like 8 hours a day. I was just like, I was super passionate about them, you know, as silly as it sounds because it's a toy. And then through owning that company and then starting my first t-shirt company, which was an offensive t-shirt company, which of course was not like a huge passion of mine. I just thought it would be a good way to make money. I realized that what my actual passion was starting companies, was getting an idea in my head and watching it play out, seeing the people that would come along and come play with me, and the stores that I would be interacting with, and the people that would like walk down the street wearing something that I made. I remember the first time that I saw somebody wearing a t-shirt that was not my friend, that I didn't know that they clearly had bought in a store, and they didn't know that it was my company. It was the best feeling ever.
My definition of passion would be something that you can't stop thinking about. And you can be passionate about a person, like if you're in love with that person or something like that, or you can be passionate about a certain area of life. If you're passionate about sports, about competing, or about training, or about watching sports and talking about sports, or whatever it is, if you can't get yourself to stop thinking about something, and if you plan things far in advance having to do with those various things that you're really excited about and you're looking forward to, that's your passion. If it's a concert that's 6 months from now that you just, every time you get on Facebook, you're like, 6 months till the big concert, then you're passionate about music, or you're passionate about this band, or whatever it is. That's what passion is to me. It's something that you could not live without.
Well, I think you always find passion in things that you love to do. So when I was training in mixed martial arts and I started training with the Gracies back in '93, right after the first UFC, I became an instant fan, and that's all I wanted to do all the time is train, and learn this new sport. I think that's part of it, is like I always tell people when I'm talking to them, they go, oh, you know, I'm trying to come up with a business, I don't know quite what I want to do. I said, what do you love to do? You know, is there a business that you can build around that? So that, because if you're doing something in and around a hobby or something you love to do, then are you really ever working, you know, because you're around what you love to do. So that's not work, or shouldn't be work, or shouldn't feel like work. And that it never felt like work to me, because I always loved being in and around what I was doing. So if I was going to, you know, the smaller fight and promoting, then that was fun, you know. That was like, I almost felt guilty sometimes because I would say I'm working, but I didn't really feel like I was working.
The way that I define passion is something that I would quit anything else that I'm doing and go do that. I will bend around my day. I will just make sure that it gets done because I love, love, love doing it. And if you don't have that feeling about anything right now, I'm actually pretty sure you do. I'm actually pretty sure if you put that definition around it, that what I'm passionate about is something that I would drop everything else and go do, there's something in your life that you feel that way about. Like even if it's your kids or your dog, like if it's your dog, maybe you should be designing dog collars, or, you know, a mobile water bowl, or something that would really benefit them. Like whatever it is, there is a business that you can wrap around whatever makes you happiest.
What do you love to do? What is your hobby? What is something that drives you, that would make you want to get up in the morning and go to work even when you don't have to, when nobody else is going to set that alarm clock for you but you? And I want to be able to set that alarm clock so I can get work done during the day. And I love to get up and move that ball forward.
Think about when you didn't have to have a job. What would you do during the day that you would just be really happy doing every day. If it's involving, you know, looking at sports websites or reading the news or playing video games or interacting with your friends socially, something like that, that process can reveal your passion bit by bit, and you can say, all right, well, I really enjoy being social. Well, how do you think the people that started social networks got started? They really enjoy connecting with people. How do you think the people that started ESPN got started building a sports television network? Because they just really enjoyed watching sports and reporting about sports and talking about sports. So to find your passion, you just have to decide on what you want to do if money was no object.
Every business has something like that, and I would just, you know, I tell people, look for those opportunities because they're there. You just have to keep your eyes open and be aware of your surroundings and look for those opportunities.
When I discovered my passion, it was basically like a whole new world opened up for me when I realized this is what I wanted to do. And it was after I started my first company and started to start my second company, when I realized that I would never have to work a bullshit job that I hated, and I would just be able to set my own hours and do things that I enjoyed to create something that I could get excited about. I did not want to stop. Like, I didn't want to stop working on it, and I was just so excited 24 hours a day I couldn't sleep in a good way. And I just wanted to be in the office and just keep going, and it was a really exciting feeling.
I just felt enlivened, and I felt like excited and inspired, and I also felt like I sort of had this sure-footedness, and I was so lucky that I was passionate about something that also makes a lot of money. But the whole thing about it I liked. I liked the fact that I could employ people, and now I am directly creating benefit and jobs and livelihood for like dozens of people. That was amazing to me. That was amazing to me that I could have this concept of a clothing line or a toy company or whichever one of the companies that I was working on, and other people's entire existences and livelihoods would be supported by the ideas that I would have. And of course I was supported by their, you know, work ethic and the help that I've gotten from all my employees along the way.
It's hard for everybody. I mean, I know I hear people say that and I think, yeah, they're just different than me because they can do that. But then I realized I do that too. You know, in some ways, you just have to find out how you do it. Because different people, if you just find nothing good in anything, you're just gonna be a sad soul. And sometimes it's a learned trait. You have to learn how to do that. You have to make yourself do it.
I get so excited about what I'm doing sometimes that I'll have to set alarms to remind myself to eat. And I'll have to, like, sometimes I'll just forget to sleep, and I'll start working at 10 a.m. and I'll look down at my clock and it'll be like 4 in the morning, and I'll just have worked all day and just stopping to eat here and there, take a little break here and there, but I can't pull myself away when I am infected by an idea that I just want to see. I just need it to exist. I just need to see it exist somewhere so that I can get it out of my head. I don't want to call it a compulsion, but if I have an idea that sticks with me, I get so amped up about it and so excited about it, and that excitement won't leave my body until I can get that idea down somehow on paper or built, or, you know, seeing it exist somewhere.
I think that you know for sure you found your passion when you're happy dominantly the majority of your day. I think it's such an intangible feeling to describe, but the symptoms of it would be like excitement to get out of bed and go do whatever it is that you're doing, and really like forward reaching and getting more and more of a vision of what it is that you want to create. Like those are the symptoms of passion to me, of like, oh, I have to do this, I'm so excited. I have to do it like I have to do it, but I have to do it like, oh my God, I have to do this, I have to see this happen.
When you found your passion, when you found something that you sincerely love doing, you'll just know, because you won't be able to think about anything else. It's like when you fall in love with someone and they're on your mind 24 hours a day and all you want to do is be with that person. If you're an entrepreneur and you're passionate about something that you're doing, it's that exact same feeling. You are thinking about it all the time, and it's almost like your child. Like you're raising this thing from nothing and you're building it into like an adult version of whatever it is. And it's almost like you're a parent and you love this thing so much that you can't stop thinking about how to help it grow. That's when you know that you found your passion.
Life gives you this opportunity to go out and do this and be fulfilled and have these moments where these huge moments for yourself or your family, or you know, where you can help them. And life is so crazy, and those opportunities, man, you just, I mean, to not take advantage of them is, I think, you know, probably the worst thing you could do.